feel.
Yes, I was about to ask you even.
My own feel would be that play a long-term goal on stocks like this, because that's where you're able to get higher returns, because it's very much high risk, because there's two elements here. You need to back the right horse first and foremost, right? Which one? Like your Philip Morris, your British American Tobacco, and the likes that play in the space, right? My money is behind British American Tobacco bet, because of the history that they have, the ability to turn around and navigate regulation. They've got a lot of this experience, more especially with the US, because their regulation and punishment and penalties happen quite more often, but they've been able to generate enough returns that are attractive even with that. So, yeah. Welcome to episode 12 of the 2024 episode. This is still Investment Candle Podcast. And I'm still your host, the one and only Chipiwa. And I'm riding with a guy that is rolling with a Sasol jersey.
It's PPE, brother. It's PPE. Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Good. It's been a while.
It's been a while?
Yeah, but I'm glad that we're back.
Yeah. Welcome to 2024, man. How has it been so far? Has it been New Year, New You? What's happening?
A little bit of that.
Yeah.
Some goals. I've got some big goals this year.
Wonderful.
But it's been amazing. The Christmas break was nice. I got to see the family. Got to see my niece, and went to the Kruger National Park.
I know it's your annual trip to the.
It is pilgrimage, I think. Yeah. So I really enjoyed going to the bush. So 4 out of the big 5. Didn't see the rhino.
You didn't.
Didn't see the rhino. Saw lots of.
How long were you staying in?
6 nights.
6 nights.
Yeah, we didn't see the rhino at all, and we were in the south, but we saw a lot of leopards.
Okay.
Saw lions, saw elephant, water buffalo. It was epic. And your side, were you in Europe as per the usual?
Nah.
As per the usual.
Festive season is for it's family time, man. But I think I did. I went home quite a bit late. I was working until the 22nd, so I got a little bit busy. But then eventually went home, spent time with my family. So it was wonderful, man, to kind of see them. I had not seen them for a year.
That's a long time.
It's a very long time. So it was it was wonderful to see my mom and everyone else. And
wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. How was the weather? LIMS is
funny enough, it rained most of the time when I was there.
It also rained when I was in bush.
Yeah, I'm here for the sun, man. This is what I get in case. I'm like, look, man, I'm here for the sun, but it was not giving, But because I remember, I think even on, was it Christmas or New Year? One of the days, it was raining throughout. Hectic. Which was not nice, because it's usually bright times, those times, like family games and the like.
It's funny. Whenever people from the north, they get a little bit of rain, they complain that it's too cold. I'm like, guys, seriously, this is nothing.
It's nothing compared to what we get here. It's very interesting. I mean, the time when I was in Norway, it was -11, and I couldn't feel my face, right? Like, I'm telling you, I was walking in the streets. I had my hat on. I had like a jacket that is up here to down here to my toe, literally almost to my toe. But look, man, it was cold. It was freezing. I couldn't feel my face. My eyes felt like they were poking out, man. Like, I'm like, no way. There's no way I could live in this weather.
Nah, hectic.
But nonetheless, man, I'm excited, man, about this year. But before we get into the nitty-gritties of what we're going to do on the investment candle, how is AFCON, man?
AFCON has been the best thing about this year so far.
Yeah.
In my world, it's been amazing.
Amazing.
I love football. I love sports, but most importantly, football. And we were having this conversation off air. Yeah. I think the AFCON has been such a refreshment. It's been refreshing, bruh.
I feel like we've gone back to the core of what football is. with
Yes.
AFCON, right? So like,
Gosh.
it's not money. It's not flamboyant football. It's just
It's
you know,
football.
it's like core football.
Oh.
You know, it's
Man, if you're a
when you're
football
getting
fan,
beaten, you're getting beaten. When you there's that, and I think what I love about it is that even the VAR, it's being used so efficiently.
Yeah.
And the decision, I'm not mad. You know.
I was speaking to my dad about this because we speak every day about the AFCON, right?
Yeah.
After a game, we do analysis.
Yeah.
The best thing for me on why AFCON has been so good is because of the refereeing.
Yeah.
The quality of the refereeing, in my view, has been on point. No drama. Well, and then if you compare it to like England, where there's always VAR drama every week. There's always a talking
All
point.
the
Here, there hasn't been any drama as far as referee. Remember the last AFCON when that referee, I forget where he's from, he even blew the final whistle at
85th minute.
Yeah, we were dealing with that. So African football has come a long way. I think a big proponent of that coming a long way has been Patrice Motsepe
Yeah.
and Lux September.
Yeah.
Listen, they're both South African, but I think they have brought some of the private sector skills and they've brought it onto African football, and we're seeing the fruits thereof. It's been amazing. I've been loving it. And Bafana Bafana, man, awesome. It's been awesome.
To be honest, when we played the first game, I was just like, here we go again. When we lost the first game, I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. But in retrospect, right, I think that game, it was Bafana's game to lose.
Yes.
That Mali game.
Yes.
So many chances created, beautiful chances even. Like some of them were on a silver platter, misses and all of those things. Then I was like, okay, maybe there's something. You know
There's
what?
something there.
Well, you know what Thierry Henry says? I can see what he's doing. He's cooking.
No, mate, I'm glad I'm speaking to a football fan, a real football fan here. That game, because people just rubbish that game and just throw it into the bin. We had a bad half in the second half.
Yeah.
But out of the tournament, we just had a bad half. The first half, we were on top of the folks from Mali.
Yes.
So we didn't put away our chances. Percy Tau missed the penalty, which I think we could have changed the complexion of the entire game.
It was a game changer. Because then Mali was like, okay, we need to wake up now.
It was. I think the only vulnerability which I see for Bafana Bafana, which they're playing tonight against Cabo Verde, it's the mentality. I think our mentality is still weak. So if we go a goal down, we struggle to come back. In fact, most of the games that we've won, all the games that we won, we score first.
Yeah.
It's just the mentality, but that comes with experience and winning, making it habitual. But my man, it's been absolutely awesome. I fell in love with football again. And thanks to CAF, African Nations Cup.
This is why I'm wearing Real Madrid shirt, so that I can channel the Real Madrid mentality into Bafana, so that hopefully Bafana can do what Real Madrid does. Because Madrid is never give up until the last minute.
No, it's true. The mentality there is awesome.
The mentality there is amazing.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. That team is like, bruh, we're going to throw everything at you.
No, right.
If you are good, you're good. We'll just know that we just lost.
Great example. Real Madrid, I think it's the epitome of strong. Yeah, like, listen, we will not give up until the final whistle. And even then, we'll challenge you.
Yes.
Nah, you're right. I think Real Madrid is the standard when it comes to mentality. But bro, like I was thinking when I was watching my last thought on Bafana Bafana before we get to the investment stuff.
Yeah.
That game against Morocco, it reminded me of the Springboks.
Yeah.
The drama. When Hakimi missed the penalty, I was like, am I watching the Springboks?
Was it? Do you remember that charge? It was
the charge done by Jason Kobe.
Yeah.
Bro,
it felt like it.
That
like,
drama.
That was a moment defining of the game. Hey,
if we go on to have a wonderful and successful tournament, I think that's a key moment.
That is a very
that penalty there. I think Morocco goes on to win if they score that.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and now the airport is that way. The airport is that way. The airport is that way.
On that note, let's talk investment.
Let's have a go. We'll start off with the portfolio check.
Yes, let's start with the portfolio check.
And then we're going to get into some of the stuff which you're going to get us into.
Yeah.
So we have 7 companies in the Investment Candle podcast portfolio.
Yeah.
We still haven't given this portfolio a name, like a fancy name.
Yeah, I think we can try and ask the investors to help us with that.
With the name.
With the name, yeah. Please
provide a name. Equity something.
Yeah.
Local, that type of jazz. But yeah, so we're starting off with number one from the back. We've got British and American tobacco.
Yes.
Yes, they are down 7.87%. 7.877%. Current price is at 565.12 cents a share. So that's British and American tobacco for all my smokers out there, all my smoking investors. Discovery.
Well, before you continue, maybe I think there was one thing that was on the news around the vaping.
Yes.
That I think the EU was it the EU or was it, I can't remember which country. They're banning the vaping because it causes it has a high death rate than the actual tobacco, because it's also damaging to children.
Is this in Europe?
I can't remember which country. I can't remember if it was the EU or it was Germany, one of the two.
Well, I know the World Health Organization always puts out stuff about banning vaping. E-cigarettes. And
which is very interesting.
In the UK, I think you're referring to the UK announces single-use vape ban.
Yes.
This according to Euronews.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it's very interesting because that is kind of the transition that the industry is going to. Yes, the product itself is environmentally friendly, but it's not good for human consumption. It's more hazardous than the actual tobacco itself.
I have to ask you then, mate, what does the future look like for this industry? Because I really don't know what it looks like.
It's a very interesting thing because, I mean, if there's a lot of penalties on traditional tobacco, and the regulation was kind of moving towards promoting this green and environmentally friendly products, smoking products. But then if the UK is going to come out and ban them, then how does the regulation look?
I don't know.
You see, so that's the world that we need to navigate in. I mean, that's the opinion that we need to formulate. It's very hard to kind of formulate an opinion around regulation and stuff like that. But I think what the industry is undergoing right now, it's a very huge transition towards stabilization around what products they can offer that is more in line with regulation. I think it's probably a dialogue between companies and different players in the industries and regulators, where they need to come together and say, how do we shape this industry? Because either way, people are going to continue to smoke, man.
That's true. So like dealing with all of that you mentioned, with the reality that people are always going to smoke, that's where I'm finding a roadblock. And I think that's where I would not really venture my rands into something like this, because I don't see the picture. I don't see the big picture as to how it will possibly play out. So like just doing a bit of quick scenario analysis. People will do this.
Yeah.
Fact is that it does have a harmful effect on the human body, but yet it has a better effect on the environment.
Yes.
Putting all of that together, I'm not quite sure how to do that.
Yeah. Look, like I said, it's going to be interesting because the regulatory changes, we're moving towards promoting them, but now we have hit a dead stop where some countries are saying no, but this is hazardous. It's bad for citizens. We need to cut this off right now, right? So because of that element, I think a lot of tobacco stocks are going to be very cheap because the market is uncertain about what's going to happen, right? We don't know what price to put into the company.
Yeah,
we don't know what margins they're going to make in the future. We don't know the direction of the company's strategy, obviously vastly impacted by the regulation, right? So, however, my own feel...
Yes, I was about to ask you even.
My own feel would be that play a long-term goal on stocks like this, because that's where you're able to get higher returns, because it's very much high risk, because there's two elements here. You need to back the right horse first and foremost, right? Which one? Like your Philip Morris, your British American Tobacco, and the likes that play in the space, right? my money is behind British American Tobacco Bet because of the history that they have, the ability to turn around and navigate regulation. They've got a lot of this experience, more especially with the US, because their regulation and punishments and penalties happen quite more often, but they've been able to generate enough returns that are attractive, even with that. So, I'm saying that it's a very risky environment in the tobacco space right now, but I'm quite confident that a company like BAT will be able to navigate through that and still come out at the top, and it will be such a beautiful story for
Oh wow, okay, cool. You mentioned the word beautiful. No, I hear you. I think what I struggle with, even before I can even bet on a horse, it's the industry which I'm struggling to come to terms with. But you know, hey, we live and die.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. It's a very interesting time.
But yeah, going forward, so from British American Tobacco, then we have Discovery at minus 6.28, and then from Discovery, we have
on Discovery. I know I'm cutting you a lot.
Yes.
Remember, I think sometime in Jan, was it December? I sent you a newsletter, I think, about Time Bank that has reached
correct
profitability,
yes,
much faster than Discovery. It's a very interesting space. But what that means, right? It means that it's possible for a fully online bank to reach profitability, right? Yeah. Obviously, there is what's this? The Time Bank is not just in South Africa, right? And if you actually check, majority of I could be wrong, but majority of the business doesn't sit in South Africa. It's Singapore.
Time Bank?
Yeah, majority of the business is in Singapore.
Okay, so wait, the point that you're driving?
My point that I'm driving is that the market, when all this online bankings and digital banks came about, right? Zero Bank, Time Bank, Discovery Bank, and all those things. There was a lot of criticism as to, people don't understand this model. How are you going to earn fees enough to actually cover your costs? What does profitability look like?
Correct.
And all those things. But the fact that Time Bank has reached profitability under 5 years, it's a very beautiful story to highlight for the industry that is formulating, and it's new, more especially in the African context.
I don't think profitability, I won't lie to you, I don't think profitability is the major metrics to celebrate. And especially if you're comparing it to a company like Discovery, of which I think they understand how the nature of startups work, in that turning on profitability levers, it's as easy as having better control of your costs.
True.
The aim, in my view, of how Discovery is approaching the Discovery Bank, it's not necessarily to be profitable as quickly as you possibly can. It's to scale your user base up until the point where whenever you turn on your profitability levers, they don't have to be harsh. They don't have to be a dramatic pull. So I think the race for profitability, it is important because Discovery is listed. But in itself, I think they have communicated well to the market that this is going to be a long-term game, in that we're not rushing to profitability, but rushing to scale. And then once we reach the scale, the critical mass or the critical size of which, that's when the profitability levers, sometimes they even turn on themselves. So I think with Time Bank, the holders of Time Bank is African Rainbow Capital, right?
Yeah.
It's African Rainbow Capital. Yeah. I think with them, it's a totally different business model than Discovery. I think with African Rainbow Capital, I think there is a rush to profitability because their business model is to solve businesses.
If you look at the numbers in terms of customer base, right, Time Bank is far ahead of Discovery.
But that makes sense, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it makes sense for Discovery for now to not focus on profitability, but to focus on growing the
scaling.
But however, like what I wanted to stress this point on profitability there's still a key issue because you're looking at minimizing costs, because the value that you're bringing at a digital bank, you're saying, I'm not going to charge you fees for like ATM fees and all of those things. You need to innovate on the product offering, right? So because you're not charging all these fees, then the question was like, then how are you going to make profit? Because you can't just make profit by just taking deposits and loaning the money out, because that's a very risky model. Right? So you need those fees, you need those charges that are actually going to supplement the profitability, the interest margin that you're going to borrow at versus what you pay at, or what you earn at. So that product offering is very important towards the driver for profitability, because if your top line is only driven by one element, which is the interest that you earn on the loans, on the loan book, then you're in a very dire space.
Very. But I think like the discovery folks understand that.
But that's what I'm saying, that profitability is still quite a key thing.
It's key
for digital banks, because they don't earn ATM fees, they don't earn all the other fees like the normal standard bank, your Absa Bank and the likes. Because if you go to a branch, right?
I'm not arguing whether it's important or not. So basically, you started off by comparing Time Bank's profitability and Discovery Bank's.
No. My point there was, it is possible for a digital bank to reach profitability, because the market was questioning profitability of digital banks. I was not saying that those are apple and apples. No, they are not. Time Bank is a little bit of a far ahead market. Also looking at the company structure. Like I said, I think majority of value for Time Bank is driven in Singapore, not in South Africa per se.
No, you're right. In fact, like even in terms of like customers, Time Bank has probably 5 times more customers. So it would make sense. It's just like them getting to profitability faster. They just at a
But 5 years, 5 years is a very short time.
It's a short time. What are you comparing the 5 years to? What's the benchmark there?
I mean, even typically with just a normal bank.
No, but like we can't compare.
But that's what I'm saying. It should be harder for a digital bank to reach profitability than a normal bank.
Oh, mate.
Yes, because the revenue streams are much more for a traditional bank than a typical digital bank.
And then the costs?
Yeah, the cost
much less on online. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Okay, what's a traditional bank?
Because the traditional bank is one that has ATMs
and branches
and the likes, right?
Yes, all of those costs. All of those
are costs.
Yes,
but remember, at the end of the day, the branch, of course, does attract the customers, right? Obviously, when you know that you can go to a branch next door, that branch is able to generate money in the local space that they operate in. That's what I'm saying, that as long as it makes sense for the branch to operate like that, to be able to generate enough customers to sustain that particular branch. But my point is, I just don't see 5 years as, it's impressive. 5 years for a bank to turn profitable. It's impressive.
No, it's good.
It's impressive.
I'm also not. I'm not poo-pooing Time Bank's
it's really
profitability.
But look at just the startup, man. Like a typical normal startup anywhere else. Anywhere else.
It's cool. It's cool.
5 years profitability. That is amazing.
No, it's cool. It's
that
cool.
Is amazing.
Let us move on. Discovery. Then after Discovery comes Naspers. No news on Naspers for me today. It's a negative 4.15%, and then we get to the greenies. The greenies, at which I think you're going to touch on, but you don't have to, because mostly we're going to be speaking about what does the future entail for this year. But we've got Anglo Platinum. Anglo Platinum is in the green, people. Investors, Anglo Platinum is green. It's green. So like, I think for me, as much as how he did pick out ShopRite, I think this for me is the most impressive one, because this did not look good, but now it's at positive 2.54%. And then we get to Sun International, which was my pick, which is plus 5.14%. And then we have ShopRite at plus, which we're going to speak about today. They released the half-year results. 18 0.95%. And then number one, we have Capitec with plus 27.85%, which remains our best performer. Overall, the portfolio, it sits at a positive of 5.06%. And we earned a dividend recently. We are at 10 Rand. We've got 10 bucks to spend to flood the market. Hopefully we'll move the market to 10 Rand.
Mick next can be bad with that.
That's what Deed said.
That's what Dude said. Like, you can get a pocket of knickknacks.
We'll move the market with this 10 Rand. We will move. But yeah, there ends this week's
I think it's very important.
Yes.
When we started, we said we wanted to beat the return of the all share index.
Yes,
They just the all share index.
Yes. Which was the benchmark.
So I don't think we have. I didn't check what it was.
But remember, the time horizon also matters.
Yeah, but you can also flex the time.
We can
for the show. All share index.
So let's do that, and let's actually come up with that data.
We can flex the time and then see. But I think we are right. If we're flexing the time, we're probably at par or
just ahead. It's been a tough year for South African equities. Tough year.
Probably, yeah.
But like, it's close. It's close.
But well done to us, man. Well done to us, mate. I mean, look, equities are not easy, man. It's a very tough space to operate in. Picking a stock and knowing a company fully and predicting what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a touch and go, right? It's a very difficult aspect.
It is.
But yeah, quickly maybe on ShopRite.
Yes.
ShopRite is just a well-oiled machine.
It is. You can't stop.
I don't think we need to spend so much time. There's so much information about ShopRite that we've spoken about. I think the one highlight that I need to mention is that ShopRite has mentioned that in the past 12 months, they've been raising market share every month.
Okay.
Which is a very interesting aspect. But when you look at what's happening at Spar and Pick n Pay, then you understand why ShopRite is taking some of the market share
fair enough. Good
from all of these things. Because it's very easy for a company to come out and say we're gaining market share. But you're like, the population is not growing by that much in terms of salaries and incomes base of people is not growing that much. Then how are you generating all this new market share if no one else is losing market share? Because it's very interesting. I remember there was a time in the retail space, all of the retailers came out to say they're gaining market share, and then
you can't all be gaining.
You can't all be gaining market.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So there has to be someone who's losing market share, even though they don't want to admit.
Unless, because I know in the online space, in e-commerce, because the market is still so small, it still can grow. So that's when you can have many players that are capturing
Yeah, but I guess it depends on how you look at it. If you're going to say that we're growing our online business relative to the peers versus the peers, then sure. But if I'm buying online, it means I'm not going to the store. So it's the same customer, right? So if I'm buying online at ShopRite, I'm not going to go to a store at Pick n Pay. I'm not going to an online store at etc. You get what I mean?
It's fair, but I'll give you a stat that's out there in that in 2022, the e-commerce total market grew by 31%. Now, if a retailer was to say that I was doing this much in online sales and now I'm doing that much, that is a gain of market share.
Yes, that's what I said. It depends on how you look at it, right? Yes, the online market is growing. It's still growing. I know that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that, for instance, if I'm buying online, if I change my grocery pattern and I don't go to the store and I buy online, I just switch. I just switch. So that's what I'm saying. That's how it depends on how retailers are looking at it, right? Sure. If they're saying they're gaining market share, are they losing from the store side? is it is still equal? Because if the net effect is the same,
then they're not.
then you're not really
haven't
gaining
gained
market
anything.
share. You're
Oh,
right.
fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. I think it's how you play around with the English, really. And
It's just how you present it, right? You can either say
and it's
the
important.
glass is half full or it's half empty.
And that stuff is important because
It's very
like
important.
what you communicate to the market. I mean,
It
words,
can move the market.
buzzwords like gain, growth, that type of thing.
It can move the market.
Regardless of how it's playing out. But yeah, mate, that's the portfolio check.
That's the portfolio check. I think that's the one thing I wanted to highlight on ShopRite, that the guys have been saying that they're growing market share 12 months in a row, which is a very interesting statement to make.
It's very interesting.
But yeah. And I think what I wanted us to talk about is like, how do you think we've done? I mean, we've touched on the portfolio, right?
Yeah.
What do you think we would have done better? What do you think we did good?
Yeah.
And all of those things. I think what we did, maybe if I can start.
Sure.
I think what we've done well was to actually know when a stock is not doing well, and actually investigate why, and actually go back to the word that we said, because it's very easy for someone to say, okay, I'm very bullish about this stock, but then when the news comes out, when everything comes out, it's Steinhoff situation, and then you're like, change your word and all of those things. But I think we've maintained that. I think most of the decisions we've been right. Some of which we have lost, but the net effect is 5-point-something% growth, which is good.
It's fantastic.
I think what we need to improve on, I think, is to make sure that we launch that competition, that investor competition.
We can improve on that.
That's the one thing that I think we can. We've been talking about it, and then it died down, and then we got busy, and then we need to get busy on that.
I think a big thing, there's not much to add to that. To what you said, I think you've covered it. The big thing that we've been very, very good at is being an educational tool. When, as far as education is concerned, you're not only limited to school. So the feedback that we've been getting, that people have been making investments, people have been actually finding these diamonds in the rough. People have had their first entry into the market because of the Investment Candle podcast. I think that's been a wonderful thing. Can't really quantify it, but to qualify it, it's awesome. We live in a country of which the economy is not growing, and the words of the time is extra income, additional income, multiple streams of income. This is one of the areas which one can actually do. So that being Investment Candle being a tool for that outcome has been absolutely inspirational. I agree with you. We need to get the competition going, and I'd like to see some sponsors coming on board.
No, definitely.
When we get into the story about the different M&A activity that's been happening, there is something which I'm actually want to mention about the Cape Town Stock Exchange. I would like also to involve them into the Investment Candle podcast, but that's roughly the long and short of it.
Okay, makes sense. Cool. One thing that I want us to do, right? It's and
guests. Sorry, and guests. And guests. We are gonna have guests.
Lots of guests.
Lots of guests. And then one more thing. Oh, these things are coming in now. So guests, right? Another one is we are going to get a bit deeper as far as our content is concerned. So we've been focusing a lot on equities, which is it's the vanilla stuff. But now this year we're gonna get into fixed income, debt. With fixed income is debt. We're gonna get into real estate and alternatives. So we're gonna cover a variety of asset classes. We're gonna have some interesting guests. I'm hoping that we only aim for portfolio managers. But anyone that we can find that we can see that will add value across the different asset classes, not only equities, that's going to be absolutely amazing. We started off nicely with Fulu, with personal finance. Have a look
wonderful.
At that. That was excellent. Have a look at that.
What an absolute gem.
That is a rising star.
It is. She was amazing. She was amazing.
That's a star.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. So more, I'm not sure if we're gonna hit too much on personal finance, but we will have fully. But
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand.
It does, no?
Investing and how you go
Sure.
about it. So
Mm.
we definitely have. I mean, it will be lovely to have her again live. If
Yes,
she
when
finds
she
herself in
promotes her
Cape
book, when
Town.
she promotes her book.
Yeah, when she
Cape
promotes her
Town.
book, maybe we should have a photo. That's a message for you.
Yes.
But anyway, what I want us to do
Yeah.
on the portfolio is
Yes.
to talk about the stocks that we own.
Yep.
Is it buy
Mm.
more? Is it sell now?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it hold?
Mm.
So that, people understand what we're thinking about these companies.
Yes.
So let's start from the top, going down on what our push.
Let me just open that. But I think we can start with the same format as we did with the portfolio check, and then we'll start off with British American Tobacco.
Yeah, British American Tobacco. It's a long game for me. Valuation are still a little bit low right now.
Yeah,
they're discounted. If I could, I would buy more. If I could, I would buy more.
You're serious about this, eh?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's buy more. It's buy.
It's a buy for you.
It's
then from that we get to. Sorry, I'm just opening it up here. From British American Tobacco, then we have Discovery.
Discovery.
Mhm.
I think Discovery for me is hold. Hold to see what Discovery does.
Yeah.
With the bank. So yeah, I think it's a hold for me.
It's hold, and then it gets to my company, Naspers. Naspers is a hold. At the moment, nothing much has changed, and I think that's why I say it's a hold, because there are still this thing of a management change. It takes quite a while to be built into the entire company. That there's new management, that there's new leadership. So far, there hasn't been any big changes, even in the world. Those changes that are ironed out in the beginning of this podcast, when I listed out as to why I'm going into Naspers, because of their robust portfolio. A lot of their companies now have actually turning back into profitability. So I would say hold for now. Yeah, for me, it's a hold.
Okay.
Then we have Anglo Platinum.
Yeah, Anglo Plat is a hold as well.
Wow. So we're not selling anything here.
No, yeah. Anglo Plat is a hold. I think when I actually sold Anglo Plat in my personal portfolio.
Okay.
Because I bought it at, I think it was at 400 something.
$40. Let me just check quickly. Let me just actually look at the
share price where it's at. I think right now it's probably at 700.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a good exit, huh?
Yeah. But I didn't sell it at 700.
Yeah.
I sold it at 800 and something.
Whoa. Okay, yeah. Cool. We're also going to put it up here so y'all can see.
Yeah.
So you got it at 400, you said?
Yeah, I got it at like 480 something, just around there. I think the price. Yeah. And then...
You sold it at 800?
I sold it at 800 and something.
You doubled your money, hey?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Cool.
So I think for me it's hold. It's at 700 and something now, right?
It's at 797 rand and 49 cents.
Yeah, sure. I think it's hold. Yeah, but I think probably when valuation matures, I probably would be keen to sell it at our portfolio.
So hold.
So hold for now.
Okay, then we get to Sun International. Hold. I was gonna say buy, but I feel like the runway here is getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
So the big thing about this asset, Sun International, or rather, even not before we get to the asset, about this industry, is that it's extremely seasonal. And if, depending on where you are in the world, if you're in the southern hemisphere, different parts of the year, that's when you're gonna see a boost.
What is the percentage growth?
Percentage growth is about 5.14%. It's been good. We've had it for about 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, we've had it about 2 months. Yeah. Well, I think it's a hold for now. And I just want to see how it actually reacts during the winter period. And
it will be interesting to know how they did with with the festive season. because
So,
it's,
so that's what I'm waiting
travel
on now.
time,
So
yeah.
that's what, and luckily it's at the back end of their financial year. So that also has a kind of like how it happens to ShopRite.
Yeah.
So that's gonna play into it. But
Okay.
up until those results come out, I think it's a hold for Sun International.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get into much as to what the personal, not the personal, the internal workings, but the financial management, the debt management of this company has been stellar. And that's why it was so poised for the post-COVID rebound. That led me to get into it. And at the moment, I say hold.
Okay.
Then we get to ShopRite.
Hold forever. Look, man, look, there's just some businesses that you just can't sell.
Yeah.
You know, like once you get in, you are in, man. Like, you know, like I think for me with ShopRite, the only thing that I'm waiting for, because I've sold a big chunk of my stake on ShopRite.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've sold not all of it, but I've sold a big chunk of it. But what I want is to actually get in again. So I'm waiting for an opportunity where the valuation makes sense to buy.
Timing.
But for now, it's for now, hold forever.
So hold forever. Yo, many orthodox investors are probably gonna nail you here. They say never time the market. Never.
Yeah,
time the market.
but yeah, ShopRite, it's hold. Obviously, there are times when ShopRite's valuation reaches 280 a share.
Yeah.
Those are times when you should sell. Right?
Yeah.
But when it's like
240.
240, yeah, you can sell, but I would advise, you hold a little bit. Maybe when it plays around 250, 260, then you can sell. But and then I think in 2021 there was a time when ShopRite share price was at 140.
Yeah, I remember.
That's when I got in.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember very, very well.
Yeah, that's when I got in. I was still an analyst at that time, and I covered ShopRite. That's when I got in with my personal money, and I sold it like 270.
Yeah. No. For me personally, just can add. For me, one of those ones that you hold forever. For me, it's Remgrow.
Yeah,
I think this is the one. I'm gonna pass it on to my kids.
Yeah.
When I get kids, I don't have kids.
Yeah.
But when I get kids, I'm gonna pass.
But
it on
yeah,
to my
look,
kids.
it's if you don't want to be buying and selling, you can hold stocks like ShopRite, stocks that, they are very much resistant and
flip.
Yeah.
I actually want us to make
resilient.
Yes, resilience. You're quite right. I'm just thinking about something. Yeah, podcast is quick. It's quick thinking. What do you make? I'm not sure. I'm even scared to maybe mention her name. The thing of board members. There's this one famous board member, almost like a professional board member. But her fabricating her
PhD.
Her PhD.
It's just a
Should I mention it? No, don't mention her name. We don't have to.
Yeah, she's a black person, so I wouldn't want to scandal a black person. But I think it's a shame, and it's
It's sad.
She's a brilliant woman, irrespective of whether she has
a PhD
or not, right? She studied on. I think she does have a master's from an Ivy equivalent school in the UK. So why the need to falsify PhD? You don't need that. On top of that, she's got worth of experience. She's professionally capable to be a seasonal board member. So there's really no need for such things.
It was a shocker for me, bro, because like we normally hear these scandals in the public sector, but now corporate heritage of South Africa. Okay, let's go one by one. MTN, they were bamboozled. Remgrow were bamboozled. What's another one? Anglo-American.
Yeah,
that's corporate heritage right there. The President's Committee was bamboozled. The Reserve Bank. I remember when I went to the Biennial her bio read as a PhD from London School of Economics. So you've got the South African Reserve Bank, the Presidency, MTN, Remgrow, and Anglo. Yo, Like, how hectic.
Imagine the boat fees that she's losing from that.
It's incredible. It's absolutely, it's unfortunate
That's very
that it happened that way, but I just thought that we should just mention it. That yeah. So I was saying that number one, you didn't have to lie about that, but now we've reached to the point where even in my personal life, at my own business, whenever I have a meeting, I always mention my qualification, and I always have it ready, because now we've reached a point where we can't really do. Even in the private sector, it's here. It's not just a public sector thing.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that this lady is the poster child.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. There's absolutely no need for such. You know, yeah, there's no need for such.
Yeah. I think the less said, the better, no?
The less, just don't. Yeah, like just don't say.
Just don't say.
Just don't say.
Don't say you have a PhD.
Just don't say. But anyway,
yeah. So the last company is Capitec Hold. Hold.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think let's chat a little bit about corporate events that have been happening.
My goodness gracious.
There's been a lot that has been happening.
A lot.
The first one, I think ShopRite continues to dominate. Look, I've spoken a lot about that.
Yes.
We buy cars unbundling.
We buy cars,
So Transaction Capital came out to say they want to unbundle the company and list it separately. Which is a very interesting thing, right? I've not been following Transaction Capital that much to know exactly what the nitty-gritty is, what the financials look like, what the strategy is, and all of those things. But keen to hear your thoughts on that.
So a bit of background: Transaction Capital is a publicly listed private equity firm. They buy businesses, hold them, exit. That's the model. We buy cars is their biggest asset, is the biggest company that they hold. So now they want to unbundle them, and not only unbundle it, but also have it as a separate listing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. There's a lesson that I drew from here, because I remember when Transaction Capital actually bought We Buy Cars. Naspers was also one of the offers that were in place to actually buy We Buy Cars. As to what the strategy was there, I'm not quite sure, but it was there. But how the mighty have fallen from Transaction Capital. Remember that whole period between the owner and some possibility of insider? I'm not saying that's what happened. That was not even the allegation. That was the rumors. It's important to have a good shareholder. I think now, if We Buy Cars, the founders themselves had to go back and say, okay, do we go with Transaction Capital or go with a Naspers? It's very, very important for companies to use their shareholders, to choose their shareholders quite well. And I think this is an instance of the company in itself had to do what it had to do because of changing circumstances. Transaction Capital has gone through a very difficult time. I think this is what they have. This is basically unbundling, refreshing the portfolio, and somewhat like a reset of the portfolio. It's unfortunate, but it's necessary.
No, it could be a good thing.
I'd say it's necessary.
Yeah. I mean, if they're able to raise capital like that by listing the company, so it's a good thing. But I don't have much to say on it, because I mean, I've not been following the company that much, but I just found it very interesting.
It hasn't been great.
But I know they also own SA Taxi.
Correct.
Which they also do in-house financing for SA Taxi. I think SA Taxi has not been doing well. The loan book has not been doing well, I think. So that's one element. I'm not sure.
We Buy Cars, all the best. My big lesson: let's choose our shareholders well. Let's go beyond the price. I mean, someone can always offer more. But then I think going beyond that, what's the strategy? That does the next 10, 15 years.
Do you have a view on whether, I mean, obviously now people should exercise caution around that divestiture of unbundling of We Buy Cars. Do you have any views on whether it's a buy stock, sell stock, or hold?
I haven't had time to think about it. Our next episode. No, I'll think about it.
Wonderful. And then the next one is the multi-choice sale,
Multi-choice sale.
potential sale.
So the potential sale, let me just read a quick snippet from CNBC Africa. Canal Plus has offered to buy all the shares it does not own in South Africa's multi-choice, a deal worth roughly 1.7 billion US dollars, USD. That's about 31 billion South African rand. Yeah. And that's basically the long and short of it. Canal Plus at the moment, they currently own 31% of multi-choice. So they want to purchase the balance and they want to own it outright. And according to CNBC Africa, they say that it would help the pay TV company thrive in a competitive international market. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a very interesting element. It's a very interesting deal. But I think given that multi-choice is a very key media company in South Africa, for it to be 100% owned by a foreign company,
Very interesting.
would be a very interesting thing to do. Because the media, I think, just also protecting the South African consumer content, right? Because the European influence will be so much more now on if they own 100% of multi-choice, for example, right? It will have a sense. They even said it on their
Statement.
in their annual report.
Okay,
yes. They want to drive the European influence in other countries. Not in those exact words.
That's dark. That's very dramatic.
But not in those exact words. But that's I think that's just my fear, that we'll consume a lot of European driven promotional material and propaganda and the likes.
Very interesting. Very political.
It's a very political statement I'm making, but
it is.
But just in terms of a deal, look, if investors want to sell, multi-choice is too important in delivering the message and handling the media for South Africa. So having that European influence to be quite tainted, in my opinion.
I think a big, I haven't looked at the annual report of multi-choice, but I'm pretty sure that a big shareholder of multi-choice is the PIC. Because that's a state-run institution, I think they could have something to say, and know the Ministry of Communications. But I agree with what you're saying. That's why I'm backing you up. I just didn't want to say it, but you said it. I was thinking it.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah. So I think that can be said. But I think it's important to mention that Canal Plus has 31% already of this company.
Yeah, they've been buying.
Buying.
It was a slow takeover.
And honestly, like something like this, if we are honest, if it does happen, it's very difficult to stop.
But yeah, quickly, Discam shareholders, we have sold their stakes.
Yes,
the founding shareholders.
One shareholder. Let me just get this.
Is it not two?
It's one and his son.
Yeah.
So his name is Ivan Saltzman, the founder of Discam.
Yeah.
In fact,
I think they're completely out now.
No, they're not. In fact, they still have a very large stake. They just sold shares worth 1.43 billion rands worth to Coronation. And it says that resulting in the reduction of Evelyn stake, which Evelyn stake is the company of which they used as an investment vehicle. It changed from 35% to 29%. So they still own 29% of Discam.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's some wealth.
It's a lot. Quickly to Sanlam. I'm not sure. Do you have anything else to share with Discam?
No.
None. Sanlam purchasing Ashupol by the subsidiary Sanlam Life for 6.5 billion rand.
Yeah.
Ashupol.
That will be a very interesting deal. I think we can chat about it in the next episode. I would like to delve into it because it's a very critical business integration that needs to happen from a US market perspective.
Yeah.
So I think, let's delve into it in the next episode.
Fine.
Let's park that.
Interesting thing about this, and investors, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first ever takeover from one company which is listed on the stock exchange and another company listed on the Cape Town Stock Exchange. So Johannesburg to Cape Town, complete buyout.
Yeah.
This is the first time. So it's a watershed moment for South African business. For South Africa.
I think so.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's been good.
That's everything. Yep.
Yeah, we can wrap up.
Yeah, man.
Wonderful. I think we're looking forward to having you guys on the next coming episode. I think we've got some exciting content coming up. Got some exciting guests that are going to pop in, and it's going to be epic. We're going to have some really challenging discussions. We're going to have some really insightful conversations around private investment, public investments, and the likes. And of course, I've got my go-to Nico here.
Oh,
the guy that has made a quadruple.
No.
Of
Not even.
Mansaso.
Not even.
That's why he's wearing a South jacket today.
You with me? Also, another thing, mate. This is, I think, the first episode in a long time we have not mentioned those two state-owned enterprises.
Yeah. Wonderful. You just had to bring it.
No, I didn't mention any.
Yes, okay.
I just say
He's not, we're not going to put a jar.
But I'll bring the jar because I got the jar.
Yeah.
I'll bring the jar. But
Okay.
it's the first episode which, like, I'm so happy we have.
But nonetheless, wonderful. Cheers, investors, and see you next time.
Like, subscribe,
And comment.
and
Cheers.